Coming to you live.
We're live.
In front of an audience from around the world, where we talk about fighters, fighting, and events. Welcome to Fight World Live, where you can hear about the latest in the world of combat sports. Get ready to gear up and square up, because we are going live. And now,
Broadcasting live.
Still broadcasting.
this is Fight World Live.
The top MMA comedian next to Ariel Helwani, ladies and gentlemen, Adam Hunter.
Hey!
Holy shit, what's going on, bro?
Thank you. I like that order though, because I would assume that being one of the top MMA comedians is hard. It's a lot easier than being the funniest comic ever. Like, how come that was arguably like the top MMA comedian? Be like one of the funniest comics ever, and arguably, like, it seems like it would be the other way. But thank you very much, man. It's great to be here. Honored to be here with you guys. You guys, I've heard a lot about you guys, and you guys do a great job. So thank you.
Awesome. And you have a lot of things going on right now. You're in Dallas right now. I saw you on Fox. You've been featured on Fox a whole bunch of times, and you're just getting around, man. What's been going on in your world?
Yeah, I've been branching out. You know, it's been great for stand-up comics. Like, they've been featuring a lot of comics. Like you wouldn't think, like, you know, hey, a great place for stand-up comedians is going to be Fox News Channel. You know, like, but it seems like the way this is going with, like, you know, where you can tell jokes and where you can't, Fox News is the most open to, like, hearing jokes that, like, are offensive or this or that. It's been great. That's been great. And then yeah, I just shot a comedy special in Toronto. I opened for Russell Peters out there, and then next week we're going to South Africa, India, and Egypt. I'm opening for Russell out over there. So it's
that's huge. Good shit, man.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I got a 5-year-old daughter and a wife at home. So I'm gonna be a month out. I don't know if, like, Gabe can relate, but being a month away from the kid for your job is like, that's the one part I'm just like, I'm like dreading it. You know, it's one thing to be away for a week, but a month is a long time.
I did 2 weeks. I did seminars in New Zealand, and the FaceTime only works so well. Like, I have no problem admitting it, because I'm known as a crybaby anyways. I was at the airport in Christchurch just sobbing because I haven't talked to her in like a week, and just like I'm FaceTiming her just sobbing. It sucks. But
that's crazy. That's a funny visual. Like, oh, there's the MMA fighter at the airport crying.
But I will say this: when I came back, oh my god, like the best daddy of all time. Daddy, like I was a god, and it felt so good. Like, oh, give it all to me, baby. It was great. Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't been canceled by now, and congratulations on not being canceled. I mean, you have your tweets are the funniest shit I've ever read in my entire life, and every time a tweet comes on, I'm laughing my balls off. Like, my balls detach. I have to sew them back on. I mean, you are the funniest person on Twitter. I mean, congratulations, by the way. I'm not getting in modern day society, not getting canceled already.
I almost, you know what? I was almost like pre-cancellation because around 2014 is when they first had Fallon Fox out, who was if you don't know, it's a fighter a transgender fighter that was fighting women. And I guess in the first couple fights, she didn't disclose that she used to be a man or she was born a man, and now, you know, whatever the right verbiage is, right? So I was making jokes. I was making all kinds of jokes about it. Like, you know, like, oh, but stupid jokes, but like, hey, you know, her move is, you know, instead of it's a calf slicer, it's the cock slicer, you know, or just like ridiculous. Because it was kind of a funny situation, you know, like it was like the Ultimate Fighter came out and she's like, she's gonna be on the men's team and the women's team. It's just stupid, like, and what happened was my Twitter blew up, like, and they tried to get me canceled at Fox News. I was at Fox Sports at the time. First thing of like realizing, because people were like, oh, all he does is make trans jokes. Like that's all. I made like 4 jokes, but like my whole career has been dedicated to making like, and they just changed it so much. And then I even tried I even was like, hey, you know, I reached out to Fallon. I'm like, hey man, I was sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. And it was like she wanted nothing to do with it, but she wanted a lot to do with the getting me fired, you know, or maybe she did, maybe she didn't, you know. That kind of opened my eyes a little bit to like, just all of a sudden, like, it's not just one, it's like everyone just like rushes to get someone fired and they're not. And luckily I wasn't at that time. And, you know, I was hired by Dana White. Dana White actually hired me like in like 2013 to like work for the UFC. For the first 4 years, I worked for the UFC. People didn't know this because they told me not to tell anybody. They're like, all the videos that like I made were the UFC made them. And it was like, and it was so weird because one day they called me in Vegas. They're like, "Who you have a meeting?" So I'm sitting there, and they're like, "Hey, how would you like to work here?" And I'm like, "I already do." And they're like, "No, you don't." I'm like, "No, I'm on the payroll. I've been here before you have." And then they came back like, "You really are working." Like the UFC didn't know that I actually work there.
I know that. That's great.
Yeah, like MMA Roasted was kind of Dana White's idea. He wanted to do like a Tosh.0, but with me, and then where I just roast the events. Where I roast.
That's a good roast.
That's a perfect spot to stop right there.
Yeah.
That's a perfect spot.
There we go. You got me?
I got you.
Yeah. So I would write like 10,000 jokes, but I would only get to use like 10 of them. And then you get mad because you're like, fuck, these jokes are so funny. So then I just started an MMA Roasted page on Twitter where all the jokes I didn't use for that. And then that just kind of blew up. And people were like, man, the UFC must hate you. Meanwhile, the UFC is like the one behind the whole thing, you know?
Wow.
So that was sort of how I got my start with that.
Oh, that's really cool.
And I loved your comedic style so much. I mean, you know, it's something new and refreshing because every MMA media guy and every journalist is the same. They ask the same questions. But you were like that first really big person that, like, I remember you were that first original personality to just like come in and make some waves. And yeah, you shook up shit when you first came in.
Yeah, you know, the very beginning, before I got to know everyone, I was just kind of going guns blazes because I was coming from the comedy world, and then I got to know people, and like I started having my own like little ethics of like, okay, don't make fun of anybody after they lose, don't go on anybody's family, anybody's wife. If I like check with people before I make a joke about them, like a really harsh joke, and I'll still do that. Like I probably shouldn't be saying this, but like, you know, with the whole O'Malley, Ian Gary thing. You know, with like their wives, you know, I had a joke. I'm like, you know, the UFC is going to make Ian Gary versus Sean O'Malley. The loser has to put that out.
Well, the build-up is the build-up.
Wait, you froze a second.
I'm on Hampton Inn Wi-Fi, so. But I said Ian Gary is going to fight Sean O'Malley. The loser has to sleep with their own wife. Like that was like.
That's pretty good.
And I was gonna, and I'm ready to tweet it out. Then I'm like, fuck. Like O'Malley's been to like 5 of my shows. Like it's like part of my thing of like, don't fuck with people. So I DM'd him. I'm like, hey man, you mind if I make this joke? He's like, and I'm making it on the podcast, so maybe I'm not really whatever, but he's like, I'd appreciate it if you didn't, because it's my wife and she didn't sign up for this. So I like did it. I didn't make the joke, you know. But like there are some jokes that I like sit on, you know, even with I'm like telling you them now, which is probably not the best thing to do.
Just
like,
wait 5 minutes. It's going out to Twitter.
Yeah, but like don't do that. But like I honestly don't really like the way the MMA culture is going. You know, I think that like even with me, like I used to make jokes. I wouldn't make memes. I wouldn't make people knocked out memes. It started with like the people getting knocked out memes, people just laying there. And now it's gotten to a point where it's just becoming like, I don't know. It's like this weird, I don't know, Sean Strickland and like, you know, you got molested and, you know, you're this one and I'm going to kill you like your father. And it's just like, even as a comic, I'm just like, I wouldn't go there as a comic. You know, I would definitely not go there as a fighter. And I'm kind of, I wouldn't say turned off by it, but I'm trying to, at least my job is to make jokes that are like more silly based and funny based than those ones where you're like, I can't believe you just fucking, you know, it's just,
you know, it's funny. When I was fighting, people were like, the big people that people were trying to emulate was like a GSP. Like everyone was trying to be like super respectful and like honorable. Like that was and then I had to give it to Chael. Chael was the one that started the whole ball rolling of like this almost comedic, you know, over the top like villain from fucking WWF. And I'm not saying WWE, I'm saying WWF. And there's this new transition, and I think it's just like, how far can we push before like enough is enough? And I'm sitting here like cringing, like when I hear stuff, like you brought up like people talk about people being molested or beaten by their father or their kids or their wife, like things that to me, like you just don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't.
Even Chael, like me and Chael are good friends, and he was like, "Hey man, I got a thing for Bellator tomorrow, PFL. You got anything for Sean O'Connell, right?" And I was like, because they were supposed to like, and I go tell Sean O'Connell, you know, you wouldn't even be the most, you know, you could walk into any Starbucks in the world right now and no one would know your name, like including the barista you just gave it to, you know, where it's like such a simple like. And then Chael said it, right? So I was like super happy he said it because it was like silly, you know, like it was, but it wasn't. There was like a silly fun factor of like where it's like now it's like, hey, you know, your mama got murdered at 4, just some fucking crazy shit where you're like, why are we doing this? You know, and I think that they're. I like Dana White's thing of like, I don't get involved what fighters say, but I really don't like the fact that people are saying it behind accounts that are just complete. It's just meme accounts or like they have a picture of a cartoon or something. Or so you can't even like attack the person that said it.
Right.
You know, like I was telling my wife, I'm like back in the day, like, yeah, there were bullies, but at least they would bully you to your face. You know, now people are bullying you online. There was a certain respect of the bully to someone that actually bullied somebody. At least they did it to the person.
The mix of it, yeah.
And I have to agree with you. Like MMA is going to a place darker than Derek Lewis. I mean, it's going to dark. And by the way, I've always loved your Twitter, and you have the balls to say things that nobody else would. And I think because MMA has such a respect factor beyond, it's either going one way or another, where it's going to extremes like, oh, I'm going to kill your parents and everything like that. Like you got molested, or another where everyone's super respectful because no one wants to rock the boat. Like I remember 2015, I want to make a tweet, like make a joke and say, oh, I guess 2 hookers started in 2015 UFC, Dan Hooker and Angela Managana. Like I want to make a joke, and I just instantly delete because I was like so fucking scared of even making the silliest of jokes. But you were like that first guy to actually have the balls, and you didn't hide behind a veil. You didn't hide behind any account. You said exactly what you felt, and you mixed it into a joke form. So everybody found it funny. Even the fighters had to laugh at themselves with the tweets that you posted. Like I seen so many of your tweets where even the person you were fucking joking on actually like retweeted it. Like people were coming to you saying, "Please roast me." Like you got that respect.
It was funny because Magana, especially, she'd always be like, I love it. Keep it up. Like she'd be like, call me a whore. Just like this. I was always giving her like, I mean, she had so many dicks in her, just one thing after another about how stretched out her vagina was. And then people would come to her defense and be like, you better leave her alone. Like she was, and then I'm like, she's the one, like, you better not fucking stop. That's where I was like the person I'm making fun of, I kind of know who, like Kelvin Gastelum asked me to roast him, right? So I could always go with him on like a fat joke, So that was kind of cool.
Tacos and weed.
Yeah, tacos. Always something where like I'm like Kelvin. And Kelvin one time, like I saw him at a party. I'm like, hey, this is Kelvin. He asked me to roast him. He's like, one time. He's like, it's been 9,000.
not a lifetime roast.
No, he did ask me one time. But so, I had Kevin Randleman one time. Randleman was like, because I didn't know Randleman. And I was giving him nothing but respect. And then he called me up mad. Like he called me up like, I thought I was gonna get roasted, not toasted. This is some bullshit. You better fucking roast me. So then I had a thing where I was giving away something. I was sponsored by somebody. So I was like, whoever comes up with the best Kevin Randleman roast gets this. And everyone just starts going in on like, staph infection, gassing out, him this. You took more shots to the face than Tito Ortiz's wife. Just one. So then he
that one's exceptional.
That was fantastic.
He put that one in. That one was expressive for me. I appreciate that.
We should have just queued out just the right set because this is fantastic.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah. So then he calls me up and he's like, tap, and he tapped into the phone. He's like, tell him to stop. He's like, tell him to stop, please. Yeah, Randleman tapped over the phone, which I thought was pretty epic.
Awesome.
He's like, my wife's yelling at me because I asked for this. So,
yeah. Is there a fighter, like, I have to imagine maybe T. Ortiz like gave you a call, like, hey, that's fucking like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, is there any fighter that really got upset at you, like, actually like had a like, or still maybe have a beef with you still? Like, is there someone like that you actually roasted that they take themselves way too seriously and they actually came after you?
In the beginning, Bisbing got mad, and then we became like really good friends. Like I helped him write his one-person show. Like Danny Castillo, he said, if I ever see this guy, I'm gonna punch him in the face. And then we became like really good friends. Tito, like he just, he's a little sensitive. So, I try to stick with it with like nothing but like big head jokes with him, and then Kevin Holland got mad because, and it was something where it was like, it was something where Kevin Holland, it was something like complimentary. Like it was like he took down a robber. It was like the first takedown he ever got. It's something like that. And then it wasn't even mad. Ronda Rousey got mad.
I said Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, what was your Ronda's?
It was crazy because we were friends. She told me I was like her favorite account. I was like, I had her best friend as my co-host. Like I was getting her cousin tickets to fights. Her mom came and helped me coach wrestling. Like just like I was like in the kind of when she lost. I didn't make a joke when she lost. Like everyone else in the world made jokes about her losing, and I didn't. I think it was when she got married, and it was something where like he was still married or to what's his name? Travis Brown, and it was something where like it was like the ex was accusing him or of something, and I said, "What was OJ taken?" Or just something where like it was, and then like they announced that they had anal sex, and then like that was the headline. So I said, "Yeah." Afterwards, he can't sit for a week, or something. And then she like completely was like, "Fuck you!" Like she was like, "Never talk to me again." Like blah blah. But then her mom was like, and her sisters are still my friends. Like they still come to my shows. Like her mom and her sister. But so I'm like, I don't know. You know what? Like nothing but best of luck to Ronda Rousey. I mean, it's probably hard being the first female superstar.
Yeah.
And all the pressure. I couldn't imagine the pressure she probably went through, and then losing, and the way she grew up. I mean, I'm probably one of the saddest things I've ever seen in sports was her going through the airport with a pillow over her face because she didn't want people taking pictures of her. I mean, that's so sad because of what she's accomplished and what she did, and she lost a fight, and who gives a fuck? But obviously, people care losing a fight, but it's like, she's 18-1 now, and then the fact that she had to go through with a pillow over her face was like, to me that's still like,
I trained her at a wrestling club, and before, when she was still an amateur, and I mean, to see her go from the amateur ranks into the superstar she became, pretty insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost, I think it's almost like we're never going to see that again. We're never going to see that, like, that kind of a rise of like hot girl fighter, superstar, movie star, losing even faster, going into the WWE. It's just her career trajectory is like insane. It's just like it's an insane thing that happened.
But now we got Conor McGregor, who is coked to the gills and hilarious and awesome. I mean, we got coked out Conor, which is I think, and it's debatable, but I think coked out Conor way superior than any variation of Conor before.
I mean, they're really trying to get him. Like, I'm pretty sure they got rid of USADA for Conor McGregor. Like, it just seems like, somewhere along the line, it looked like WME said, "Okay, how much money did this guy make us? How much money?" All of a sudden, they just get rid of the drug company, not the fighter. I mean, that's kind of insane. But I still don't think he passes the test legitimately.
Oh.
Hey, Adam, speaking of embarrassing, what is your most embarrassing comedic moment? Do you have one that stands out?
Dude, I have so many. I mean, it could be tonight. I mean, but it I got booed off stage one time following Bill Burr, like my year number 2 in comedy. And I just wouldn't leave.
That's a huge guy to follow. Holy
yeah.
God damn.
It was like an all black crowd in New York City, and it just I thought I was way better than I was at the time. I had a menu thrown at my head by an old lady at like the Montreal Comedy Festival, like 4th callback, and it hit me like dead, and my face just kept getting bigger. That was pretty bad. I had a guy attack me at a wedding. If you look up comedian attacked at wedding, it's like got 1 million hits. They hired me to roast a couple and pretend I was marrying them, and then break out and roast the people in the crowd. And then some guy got mad and like pushed me, and then I had to keep doing another 40 minutes after that. Then the grandma started yelling at me.
I'm definitely looking it up.
It just keeps going. I mean, I've gotten so many times where like I would bring dates with me thinking it was a good idea, and then I'd bomb, and then it just was like I didn't want to. You just want to shrink. You just want to. I mean, like the day after I did the Tonight Show, I was working on a cruise ship, and I did a joke, and I was like, "Hey, just so you know, that joke killed last night on Leno." And then some lady was like, "I didn't laugh then either." I mean, it's like,
Jeez.
yeah. I had a rabbi I had a show at a temple, and he told me not to curse, so I kind of cursed, and the rabbi grabbed the microphone from me. I mean, I've had so many shows cut short by owners. It's just a matter of like you do enough shows, and these things are going to happen, But there's still nothing I'd rather do. It's the biggest high in the world, but it's also sometimes like, like you always want to blame. Your first instinct is to blame the crowd. Oh, the crowd sucked, or the host sucked, or they didn't set me up, or the guy before me did too much crowd work, or this happened, or that happened, or it was. But it's always your fault. Almost always your fault. It's 99 of 100 times it's your fault, and you have to accept that. And sometimes it's like those are the longest drives home, 3-hour drives, or 4-hour drives. So.
And before we let you go, I do have one more question for you. Who is your biggest comedic inspiration? Like my 2 favorite comedians, Dave Chappelle, Gilda Radner. Those are my 2, number 1 and number 1. But who is your favorite comedian, who are your biggest inspirations?
I mean, I think Chris Rock's Bring the Pain is probably the greatest comedy album. Like and even that one, there's a story behind that of like, he went on tour with Martin Lawrence, and Martin would do like an hour and a half before him, and just murder. And this is when Martin was like on Martin show, and he was hosting Def Comedy Jam, and Chris Rock was coming off Saturday Night Live, and he would get bombing every night, and then he went underground for like 6 months and came back with Bring the Pain, which is arguably the best special ever. So that special is great. But as a comic, like Rodney Dangerfield makes me laugh. Like when he does panel on shows, he doesn't even pretend that it's not like a bit, because that's the worst. When a guy goes, "Hey, so you just came from France? What happened? Oh, funny you ask." And then you're like, okay, this is all. But he just would go right into like his shtick. And it was so funny. It was just joke after joke after joke, and I just love that. I love jokes. Like I don't really tell that many stories on stage. I tell a couple because I'm like, let's get to the fucking punchline. I get bored in my own head. I get bored. So, but when you could just joke, it's the thing of beauty. Like DMX or like Method Man or Wu-Tang. Like it's just like bar. I've never been one of these some of these like slow long form rappers or even mumble rappers. What the hell you're thinking about? But I just like same with the fighting. I mean, if you look at fighting, it's like I'll take Diego Sanchez in his prime against anybody. Like just it's gonna be a fight. Like prime Diego, he was gonna just throw a million punches or go for a billion takedowns. It was never gonna be a boring fight when Diego Sanchez fought.
And let's not forget the yes cartwheels, which are my favorite on the planet. The yes cartwheel is legendary.
I still feel bad because we were friends, and I started making fun of his coach, and he got mad at me.
What about now?
He got mad at me. Yeah, but he got mad at me because of that. We never kind of like made up really, but it was so, but you're hanging upside down and someone's beating you with a cane and you're naked.
What was the joke though?
It wrote itself.
Yeah, like, he can't be mad about that. Even like even now he recognizes the coach was a fraud. If there's any time to be like, you know what? Yeah, you were 100% right. What the hell was I doing?
Yeah, I know.
I got caught up.
But I still feel a little bad. Like Tony Ferguson one time, like he like applied to Harvard. He goes, I'm going to Harvard Business School. He announced it. And I wrote a joke of like, man, I hate to be the one to tell him that you have to apply to get in here, like when he shows up. And like, I thought he would laugh at that. So I said, and he goes, that's not funny. He's like, I'm going to Harvard, motherfucker. Like he got mad. And I'm like, fuck,
What you gotta know as a fighter when Ferguson or Diego's doing it, you gotta know. I mean, you're just throwing a softball. You just
God,
dude. He out of curiosity. How did his first semester at Harvard go?
I don't understand how he got into Harvard. Or I don't even know what happened there. But he says he went to Harvard.
Oh, he actually went.
Maybe it was like an online course or something. I don't know how. I don't know.
Was it Harvard with a B instead of a V?
I have no idea how Ferguson got into Harvard Business School, but it allegedly happened, and he got mad. But then he would send me like jokes and like lyrics. And like that's the thing, because I wrote a lot of the MMA awards. I wrote all the MMA award stuff. I wrote the All About the Cake with Daniel Cormier, and I wrote the one instead of Wet Ass Pussy, and like I like wrote the one about Ben Askren, like Hello from the Askren Side, and then this year I wrote Angela Hill at Cardi. So I was always trying to pitch Tony Ferguson into one of them, and then he would always have his own things that he wanted to do, which sometimes like were songs that like were like 30 years old. And I'm like, no, we're trying to do a new song. And then at like 4 a.m, he would be like sending me his ideas. But they were funny ideas, but it just wasn't really what I was looking to do, but you know, it was the worst was I had what's it called again? That was Josh, not Chris Barnett. You know Chris Barnett, like the huge black dude that does like spinning wheel kicks and like.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
So I wanted to have him as like Lizzo, right? And he was on board. But then like some crazy stuff happened in his life, where like somebody passed away, and like he couldn't. But we had the shoot ready, so I called DC and I'm like, hey man, any way that you could be Lizzo, and he just like there was. It was the most uncomfortable conversation I've ever had. Like it was just blank silence for like 2 minutes on the phone, and I was like, oh no, like
you are the funniest motherfucker ever.
I don't know
All
who
right,
would
so
have been cookier Lizzo, DC or Chris Barnett. I mean, jeez.
That is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. But please, before we let you go, plug your upcoming dates. Where can we see you? Where can people see you? Where can people buy tickets? Please plug your upcoming dates.
If you go to AdamHunterComedy.com, I'm going to be in February. I'm away. I'm opening for Russell Peters. We're going to South Africa, India. We're going to Cairo, Egypt. We're doing the whole tour. And then if you just go to AdamHunterComedy.com, it has everything. And I have a podcast called MMA Roasted. It's me and Don Fry and Sean McCorkle and Bill Dawes. So Don Fry is the funniest human being I've ever, like, you talk about like your old like uncle, like MAGA uncle, you know, I'll be like, so what do you think of the fight? First of all, there's a 99% chance he'd not see the fight, right? But if he did see the fight, he'll be like, oh, that guy was sneaky, like the Chinese. I'm like, it has nothing to do with the Chinese.
Hey, you know Don Fry? He's cornered me a bunch of times, and we've been friends for about 25 years. He's never called me Jake once. He always calls me kid. Good job, kid.
Oh,
good job, kid.
Dude, him going off on Henry Cejudo. I had Cejudo on.
Yeah.
And I had Cejudo on after his last fight. It was like the day after he lost to Aljamain. No, I thought you won. It was very close. And Don's like, you wrestle like a fucking pussy. He goes, put your fucking tampon back in. You fucking, you piece of shit. You let down this country. He fucking just went off. Like, how do you call yourself a fucking Olympian? And that's the way you fucking. Where was the wrestling, dude? And Henry became like I'm like, I thought he was gonna leave, and he was like, no, man. Henry became a little child in Don's eyes, you know, like he became like he listened to everything Don had to say, and it was just like I was like, holy shit, like,
damn. I gotta listen to that episode. That sounds so good. Actually, interesting enough, Jake and I fought on that card where
that's right.
Don Fry got into it with
Sonny.
With the guy Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Dog the Bounty Hunter's kid's bodyguard, Sonny.
Yeah.
Oh, Sonny Garcia, right?
Yeah, they fought right out in the middle of the Marriott. It was wild.
Yeah, Don was drunk though. I felt bad. I never bring that up.
Not only was he drunk, we were at the bar, and I go up there. He's about 10 shots of tequila deep, about 5 painkillers. It's like, he was going at it all day.
Yeah, Don's still mad about that. Don's one of those things where, like, yesterday, my friend was like, "Hey, my baby mama was in a movie with you. He played your girl." Don, what do you Don? You remember that? I was in a movie. Like he doesn't be like.
You should just start making up different scenes that he's not in.
Just going along with it.
Yeah, like
that's amazing.
Holy shit. Adam, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for sharing your humor. Big show this weekend. Big shows this weekend. Adam, you are the fucking man. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, guys.
I'll catch you next time you're in LA.
Fucking
God
awesome.
damn, he's funny.
He's solid. Solid.
I could have literally sat there and just let him rip off jokes for the next, 20, 30 minutes.
Solid.
All right, boys and girls. So we have how the fuck we're gonna follow him? I mean, we have to talk about top 5 topics, and we have to follow fucking Adam Hunter.
Yep. This is gonna be the same like when he went after Bill Burr and bombed. Now it's like, shit.
Hey, by the way, he's opened up for Russell Peters and Bill. I mean, those are huge
names.
Yeah.
Huge names. Good for him.
That's awesome.
You ain't fucking kidding, my friend.
I went to a buddy's open mic comedy, and I've watched a lot of comedy shows, but like doing those open mics, it's rough, man. Like there was 10 people in the crowd, and everyone that went up there, they did 15-minute sets, and I had a better appreciation for it. Because it's tough. It is a tough gig.
Before we get started, have you ever seen Kill Tony?
No.
Tony Hinchcliffe does a show, and he brings a bunch of comedians up, and he's got a panel, so it'll be like Rogan and Shane Gillis and all these just killers on and they go up for 1 minute. They go up for 1 minute, and they got to pitch it for 1 minute. They actually give critique and criticism. They try to help, but boy, do they roast the shit out of them.
Dude, how can you even put a show for a minute like that?
You got to be fast, man. You got to just be knocking them out.
I've seen. I didn't know what it was, but every once in a while, I get little YouTube clips, and I've seen where there's the panel, and then there's the guy in front, like that.
Yep.
The one that I saw recently is the guy's like, "I'm not retarded, but I like rocks."
Oh, was that Little Hobo?
I don't know who it was. So it was a black kid. He was just like, he's like, I'm not retarded, but I like rocks. And he goes in his pocket and he's like, I found this one in the parking lot. And this was hilarious. I was laughing hysterically.
Oh, that's great.
All right. So on that note, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm Bros and hosts of different area codes. Let's go to top 5 topics of the week. Asked by the fans, by the way, by the fans of the show. We appreciate everybody for submitting their questions. So topic number 1 is as follows. Does anyone care about Conor McGregor fighting anymore? Gabe, what say you, good sir? What do you think?
Are you asking my opinion personally, or are you asking about do I think people as a whole?
Does anyone care about Conor fighting anymore? I think
you all know what my opinion is. I could give 2 flying fucks. I think that there's still. I mean, dude, I hate to say it, but Conor's kept himself relevant in the worst possible ways by just being in the media and the worst, like just doing dumb shit, punching old men, and like attempted rape at a basketball game, and so he's keeping himself relevant, and he's about to be in a major movie. So I think people do. I do think he's still a draw. Do I think he's what he once was? No, I don't. But I still feel that people want to see what he does. And I'll tell you, his next fight is going to be a make or break. If he loses his next fight, you can call his stock like, dude, that like it will plummet. That's my opinion.
Personally, I think coked out Conor McGregor. And by the way, I saw the new trailer for Roadhouse, which I have no fucking idea of why you would remake Roadhouse, which is an absolute classic. But it's Conor McGregor essentially playing Conor McGregor. Like, it just looks like he's coked out of the gills, and he's not really acting. It's just Conor McGregor fucking coked out, just going crazy. It's like Conor McGregor playing Conor McGregor. I mean, it's pretty fucking awesome. Jake, what say you, good sir?
I think, again, I agree with Gabe there. He just enough's enough. And I don't think his love for fighting's there anymore, but I think he loves what fighting brings out of him. So you can have all the money in the world, but you don't have the same respect. We've talked about this before, but you don't have the same respect as when you're a top fighter. People just don't look. You can't buy that respect. You can buy everything else, the Ferrari boats or the Lamborghini boats and everything, but he's made a mockery of the sport. He's playing with guys' livelihoods. He keeps dangling carrots on. It's just old. It's just old, and it's just time for him to either fight or get the fuck out.
All right, so this is the question that was asked. Does PFL and Bellator merge mean more for combat sports and gaining on the UFC? Gabe, what say you? Four-time world champion, Mr. Gabe. What do you say?
Nope.
No.
Gabe, I love you to death.
I'm
tired of Gabe stealing my fucking answers.
Listen, the 800-pound gorilla is always going to be the 800-pound gorilla. It's like, dude, is Pepsi a legitimate company that makes a shit ton of money? Yes, but they're not Coca-Cola. That's just how it works. When you're the first, when you're the number one, I guarantee you, most people don't even know what MMA is, but you say UFC. Oh, yeah, you train UFC. Dude, it is synonymous with the sport. Once that happens, there's always going to be a number two, and I have no doubts that PFL and that merger is going to make them a stronger package. But the 800-pound gorilla is the 800-pound gorilla. How do you get to that? When you're the number one, when you're the first one there, everything else is going to be secondary, and that's just how it is. That's with life. And I mean, look, do I think it's good? No, I don't. But the reality is the reality. And like UFC is the first one in the U.S. You can talk all you want about Pancrase in Japan, but they were the very first one to have a pay-per-view in America. And if you see how it's built and how it's gone, when you were there, you're on top of it's going to take a lot to have them to knock that monkey off the perch.
Well, Shudo was the very first MMA promotion to actually do a sanctioned MMA event, good sir. Shudo, then Pancrase, and then UFC. Oh,
check out this
Mr. Gabe.
Fucking
nerd.
No, fuck you guys. But like the PFL. So I did press for PFL versus Bellator. They did a press event. Chris Shields was on it. It's going to be PFL champions versus Bellator champions. And there was the most amount of press there. It was about 60 heads that were there. John Morgan, of course, got the first question. And like people were hyped and excited for it. Like the energy's there.
The card looks great. I'll be honest. Like I looked at the card. It's a good card. There's no denying that. But once again, it's but look at who's the top tier talent.
But Gabe, it's a good card, but it's not a great card. You know, like you said, I'll watch two fucking hobos fight on the sidewalk. I love fighting, but this card just doesn't even move the needle. And a lot of them are ex-UFC guys. UFC, what they do so well, and Gabe knows this, is they develop talent and actually pay to develop talent. All these other organizations, they just don't. And I mean, I got to be honest with you. If it was free, I'd watch it, but I don't even think I'd pay $9.99. And not to be mean. I mean, I love everybody involved, and I think it's good to have other organizations, but they have no star power to move the needle. None. And you're not just going to do one guy. Francis Ngannou is not going to just completely move the needle and make an organization. When you look at the UFC, I mean, even UFC 300 stacked already, and people are pissed because it's not enough star power. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, and this is where I have to agree with you, Jake, and I guarantee you UFC is already going to have a banging card planned on that night to try to derail any type of momentum. And they'll probably do it for free, too, because they can actually afford it. And they'll find a way to delay or kind of, derail the momentum that PFL and Bellator has. Like,
I don't think they'll need to, because I honestly don't see the momentum. I think the press is there. You know, I think Bellator is much stronger because Coker really did develop talent. That's the one thing he did. PFL just bought every ex-UFC fighter that lost. So we're watching, not that there's not, I mean, Bader, a lot of those guys, I have a ton of respect for them. This is not a knock on any of that, but it just, go ahead, Gabe.
But Corey Anderson was actually on a win streak when he
yeah, no, you're right. Not always. Not always.
There are a couple, but as and like I think Phil Davis is another one. But regardless, they were made talent through the UFC. And I was about to say that the main event is Ryan Bader, who was the Ultimate Fighter alum winner, and it was built through the UFC product, and then now has become the face of Bellator. But he wouldn't be the face of Bellator if he started in Bellator, and that's where he began. He started his career.
All right, so topic number 3 is, with the WWE involved, what fighter would you want to see in wrestling, and which WWE superstar would you want to see in the ring fighting? Gabe, what say you, 4-time world champ?
You're really going to ask me that question?
Probably regretting it already.
I'll be honest, I don't know any of the current wrestlers. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen Hacksaw Jim Duggan, maybe. My frame of reference for wrestlers now, I don't know. And I'll be honest, I don't want to see MMA guys in wrestling. Although I'm sure there are guys that can do it, and And I
But
think,
if you just had a dream match, if you just had a crazy dream match, what would it be? Like even funny,
oh God,
like Jimmy Snuka versus Brock Lesnar, off the top ropes.
I would like to see Hulk Hogan versus Brock Lesnar in an MMA match. Or no. Brock Lesnar versus Tito Ortiz in an MMA match.
Welcome to season 2 of Gabe making fun of everybody's questions. Welcome to season 2.
It's just it's a question I don't have frame of reference for.
Listen. Coked out Conor McGregor in WWE would be fucking bonkers. Fucking bonkers. Like doing a big rail.
I agree that, but
like, in the ring, fuck yeah, I'll fucking fight. Yeah, like just fucking knocks out referees, fucking ring announcers, fucking just goes fucking buck wild. I would love to see coked out Conor McGregor, which once again is the superior Conor McGregor out of all versions and variations of Conor McGregor. He's level 99. He is fucking Studio 54 Conor McGregor. And listen, guys. Listen, Conor McGregor, WWE, perfect. Put them together, please.
Ask Jake that question. He would know better than I. Jake's a big WWE fan.
Jake, what say you, good sir?
Brock Lesnar versus Mighty Mouse.
Ooh.
No, I'm kidding. He would literally punt him out of the ring.
I don't know. I think Mighty Mouse might be able to get his back in Marcelo Garcia a la Rico Rodriguez.
I don't know if his arms are long enough to get around Brock's big ass neck.
Yeah, it's possible. You're not.
I mean, it would be like a half choke. It's just trying to get the hook in somewhere.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, number 4. I want to know, since Potter convincingly lost the bet to Gabe and Jake, where is the wiener hat?
Ding dong.
Good question. Very good question.
Dong. I don't know what fan asked that, but you know what?
It's not a fucking good question. No, I didn't lose. And by the way, Jake, you were sharing clips of Power Slap showing an.
Hold on. I shared the same clip with Gabe, and I said this is incredibly uncomfortable to watch, and I actually feel bad. You didn't see the context of what I wrote there. It's Jesus. Don't. Hey, where's your wiener hat, Potter?
Exactly.
I'm not gonna wear any fucking wiener hat.
You lost in front of thousands, tens of thousands of people watching.
Yep.
Well, guess what, motherfucker? Power Slap is on the road now. They're gonna have their first show. It's gonna sell out. It's one of the highest rated clips.
Well, that has nothing to do with our bet.
Yeah, you were showing a vested interest in Power Slap. The bet was I can get you interested in Power Slap.
I've also showed a dog that couldn't walk that I felt sorry for.
So same shit.
That doesn't mean I like it or I want it to happen.
Yep.
Oh, go to 5, Potter. Put your wiener on.
No, I'm not gonna put
a wiener hat, Potter.
I'm not gonna get a fucking wiener hat. I'm not getting a wiener hat. Listen.
Get your wiener hat, wiener.
I want the bet. I want it. You showed an interest, and Gabe, one day you'll show an interest. This is like a reoccurring, a recurring bet. I guarantee. Fuck you too, bro. I guarantee. At one point in time, all of you guys will be on the bandwagon of Power Slap. I guarantee it. I'll bet my right nut on that. Okay, I won't bet a wiener hat. I'll bet my left testicle.
Boy, some fan's gonna document that one. You're fucked.
Please.
Let's go to topic number 5. Everyone ready for topic number 5? All right, we're gonna edit that proportion out. Let's go. Topic number 5. I can't breathe.
That's good.
All right, let's go to topic number 5. Since no main event has been named at UFC 300, what would be our dream main event? Gabe, ready for your sarcastic answer.
I don't know. There's not any real fights that I'm super interested. I think I'd like to see Islam versus Gaethje. That's actually a fight that I'm pretty interested in. But as far as 300, I can't think of anything that what they would say the fights that would move the needle are I can't think of anything that would really. But I would like to watch Islam versus Gaethje. That's a fun fight for me.
Cool. And Mr. Jake, what say you, good sir?
That one's a tough one. I mean, you'd like to see John Jones compete
Oh.
with
Yeah.
maybe John Jones versus Aspinall. You know, young lion versus and I love the Miocic fight, but Stipe is getting older and he's a little. I mean, that's a legend fight, but John Jones technically he's still.
Didn't I hear that Aspinall's fighting Stipe?
So Stipe apparently agreed. From what I understand, he agreed to it, and then he came back and said no. He didn't want to do it because Aspinall's like, "Fuck, look, I'll fight anybody." I mean,
I like that kid.
I do too, and I don't blame Stipe. I mean, if you're going to go, because if he loses that fight, which it's highly likely you might,
Yeah.
the John Jones, probably $30 million payday gone. So I don't think that fight makes any sense.
You know what? If they made Kayla Harrison fighting against Holly Holm the main event, I wouldn't complain whatsoever. I already liked the entire card.
Oh, that's a stinker.
Oh, Jesus
Why
Christ!
is this stinker? It's a great fight.
That's a dirty diaper of a main event.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Cabe.
Why?
Oh,
Why is it?
Because Holly's 42 and getting older, and Kayla just wrestles and still very raw. It's just not a very
fought in the UFC.
Yeah, never fought.
Your first fight in the UFC is going to be against an aging veteran, and actually Kayla isn't she coming off of a loss? Or no, I think she just won her last fight. But
She lost and then she came back and won.
Yeah, then she won. But like no, that fight in my I hate to say about it. I mean, it would be a main event card, but I don't think it should be a main event. I don't think
maybe last fight on the undercard on live TV. Yeah, on regular TV to get everybody excited. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like every single fight that's on the card. So far, every single fight that they have announced, I'm pretty psyched for. But
I think
like
the best fight on the card is the Oliveira versus what's the Armenian kid's name? What's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, you know what? I watched Armin fight Davi Ramos live, and I was like, this kid is a talent. This kid is a talent. It's like, and it's rare that I say that, especially in the lightweight division. But I saw like a special talent in that kid, and I think he could realistically rematch Islam and beat him.
Fuck yeah! Or main event of UFC 300, Kazushi Sakuraba making his long anticipated return. Sakuraba, Royce Gracie 3. Come on. Boner. It just went from 6 to midnight. Like, let's fucking do it. Let's run it back. Like,
just gonna roll them in on their wheelchairs.
Come on, they're not on wheelchairs. They're on those little pushers. You know what I mean? They're not on the wheelchairs yet, but they're little push.
I've been clinging to Sakuraba's nuts since what? 1999, 2000.
He's one of the best of all time.
He's one of the pioneers. Like,
he is one of the best of all time. And
no question there. I think Gabe and I agree, but
iconic in the MMA scope of things. But unfortunately, he's old. And like when I watch him grapple now, like dude, when I watched the rematch versus Henzo, it was sad. I could like it didn't feel like I didn't feel like Henzo redeemed himself. In my opinion, just like an old man getting tossed around.
So, gentlemen, that will wrap up this first show of season 2 on Amazon Prime. We are number 5, top 100 in Amazon's top 100 sports fan shows, news shows in the world. So, with that being said, final words, final thoughts from the four-time world champion, owner of one of the best gyms on planet Earth in Tarzana, California, Kaja MMA and Fitness.
Beautiful. Kaiju MMA.
Yes. You got to train with a BJJ black belt, a 4-time world champion, and a big fan of all combat sports, Mr. Gabe Rudiger. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct. And anyone can come in for a free class. Happy to have you. More than welcome. But last season we got to number 4. I would like to get to 3 or 2 or even 1. So this season, I am going to do everything in my power to make us get as close to that #1 slot as possible.
Well said, good sir. Well said, you beautiful bald bastard. Now let's go to, at one point in time, considered one of the best fighters in the world, Mr. Thunder, Jake Hatton. Jake, final words, final thoughts from the bad motherfucker himself.
Again, man, I agree with Gabe. Let's go after that #2 or #1 spot. I'm just glad we're back. I miss talking about fighting. I miss you guys, man. We're a big family, and man, I can't wait for this season.
It's going to be a crazy season. I can't wait. We'll see you next week for Fight World Live on Amazon Prime. This is Dave Potter alongside four-time world champion, Mr. Gabe. And Jake, at one point in time, considered one of the best fighters in the world, and his beautiful puppy. We'll see you next week on Fight World Live. Take it easy. Peace.